Hey guys, welcome to Power Marriage. My name is Pablo Marte, and this is my beautiful wife.
Mariceli Malte.
Ta-da!
Oh,
She's right here.
wow.
And she's just adorable.
Not really.
Yes, you are. So today we're going to talk about change.
Mm, have we talked about change before? Huh?
We may
Okay.
have mentioned change once or twice.
Okay.
I don't have any change in my pocket right now to give like a
Oh, okay. Okay.
show and tell example, but
Wow.
we'll talk about change and
Mm,
more precisely when does change begin.
okay. Okay.
All right, so I'll step to the side, figuratively speaking, and let you begin. I just say step to the side.
Oh, you expect me to say something?
Yeah, so you can begin and
Oh,
talk
I don't
about
know. What
change.
do you want me to say about change? When?
Whatever you want to say.
I don't know.
I don't control your mind.
What happens with change?
What?
When does change begin? That's what you said, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
when does
So,
change begin?
I don't know. It depends on the person. They have to accept that there's got to be some type of change.
What do you mean? Not everybody's not the same?
No.
That's shocking news.
Wow.
I thought everybody was exactly the same.
No, honey.
So if I cut myself here, I got blood. Red
Wow.
blood.
We all bleed the same.
Yeah, we all got red
Yeah.
blood, so we're the same.
No.
I mean, you got longer hair, I got.
We're not
We
the
both
same
got
as we.
glasses, see, we're
We're
the same.
different.
Okay.
We're very different.
All right. So when does change begin?
When the person accepts there's got to be some type of change in their lives.
That's like the briefest answer ever. Like, then the video's over.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Change begins
It's
when the person accepts
well, it's
that
an
they need to change.
easy answer. There's not a big, complicated answer. Change begins when you decide that something has to change. When you accept change in your life. That's when I changed it. I accepted that I need to change. And that's
You
how
had
it
a,
changed.
you found the reason why you wanted to change.
Yes.
What was your reason why you wanted to change?
It was not for my marriage. It was not for my husband. It was not for myself, but it was more to try to find who God was in my life.
Very well. Awesome. And I started to change when I took the dollar bills I had in my wallet
Wow.
and I said I want quarters. Not funny.
No,
I tried.
no, I'm not even laughing.
I tried.
Wow.
Well, so in a marriage, right? We've mentioned this before. If there's a problem in my marriage, and I realize, oh my God, something needs to change. Usually, I want to change somebody in my marriage. I don't want to change something in my marriage, right? I want to change somebody. I don't know why. Maybe it's easier. Maybe we just think, right? Just we're typically lazy. Maybe I want to just sit back and let her do all the changing, right? And then it'll benefit the marriage. But the reality is that there's only one person in the marriage that I can change, and that's me. I can't change her. When I married her, I accepted her for who she was. Granted, right, there could be some things that maybe she might need help with and change, but that usually comes along through dialogue and right, and we conversate and things of that nature. Uh, there has been times where you've told me things. I know. I'm ready for it because I'm not ready for it. That's what I'm trying to say is that I put myself in that position because then you're gonna say yeah like when. That's what you always do. And then I don't have a like when. But I was gonna say right there has been times I'm sure when you have said something and I'm like, well I've given this example maybe something that I do know is many times you have told me in the past. It's been a while, but you have told me, hey, this is wrong. This is going on, and I think this is wrong. And I remember being upset and angry and like I don't need to hear that from you and this and that, right? And I don't want to deal with it and I'm angry. But then later on when I go to my room or go whatever, I'm by myself and I think about it, I'm like, she did have a point. She said what needed to be said, and I just wasn't ready right there at that moment to listen. So then I'll come back and be like, you know what, you're right, I apply the change. So I don't have an example, so don't say like what, because I don't. But
No, I know.
but that has happened many times, and I remember telling you that like, yeah, okay, tell me. That's one thing that I like about you, and one of the reasons why I married you. And then we did another video, I think, about
Yeah.
that. But it's that is I like the way you are sincere and honest, and you just come out and say things. and that's very important, uh, to speak the truth in love. By that, I mean that because you love me, you muster up the courage to say what needs to be said, even if I'm going to get upset.
Yep. But there's people out there that say that we shouldn't say anything, that we should just stay quiet and leave it alone. But I believe that in the best way of doing things, like you said, is love. And also in the word tells us that when somebody's it's not doing something correct, right? It's our kind of like it's a commandment for us. It's a command that it's for us to lead that person to.
Well, that's what it means to love someone, right? And the Bible gives many examples, right? It says we discipline our kids because we love them, right? And it gives the other example: when you don't love your kids, you don't discipline your kids, right?
Do whatever they want.
Exactly. So the same, you can apply it to marriage. Obviously, we should apply that always to everything. We should always be able to speak the truth, even though the truth sometimes hurts. A lot of times it hurts, especially when the truth is correcting.
Yeah.
When it's correcting an issue, and then of course that may hurt, especially if the person's not ready to accept it. So towards the beginning of our marriage, I mean, I'm sure I didn't like to, maybe right at the beginning when I was, in that infatuated, where the chemicals took over my brain and I wasn't thinking straight, and you couldn't do anything wrong. Back then, I'm sure I would take any advice you would give. Maybe aside from like jump off this bridge, it'll be fun. But aside from that, right, like I would take the advice, but then once that phase passed, then it was more like, all right, well, you don't need to be telling me what to do.
The lovey-dovey stage passed.
Yeah, that's no longer exists. But then I would say, right, like I don't need to take your advice, and maybe I wouldn't say I don't need to take your advice. I just would be like, all right, yeah, it doesn't make too much sense or whatever, like just brush it off, kind of. And when I do that, when I used to do that, I don't do that anymore. But when I used to do that, I'm sure that wouldn't make you feel good.
Well, I know that again, when people say you're not his mom, I'm not his mom. I will never want to be his mom. That's why he has a mom, but I am his wife. There's also obligations that I need to do as a wife, right? Because God created me as his helper. So why would I be his helper if I'm not helping him in the process of, hey, honey, this is what's going on. I need to express those feelings. I need to let him know what's happening, because then I'm not being a helper. Then he would never know what the problem is in the marriage.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, I mean, obviously I had some things here for tomorrow that I said, but obviously I think this might go very good, right? One of the first things in the Bible that God said that was not good, right? In the beginning we have the creation, right? First day, second day, right? And he saw that it was good and everything was good, right? But one of the first things that he said was not good is it's not good for man to be alone. That was before anything else. That was before he created Eve, right? That was before there was the serpent in the garden. He said the first thing that he said that was not good was for man to be alone. Why? Because man needed not just let's say, well, okay, the word that the Bible uses that is translated is a helper, right? A companion is what they use, right? And if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, sweetie?
Well, and like he said, in growing in our own marriage, in the beginning it was hard to express anything. It was hard to tell him, hey, this is what's going on. I don't even know how to tell my own husband that this is bothering me, that this is something that keeps going on, this is something that is affecting our marriage. And I never really knew how to express it because I was afraid. I was afraid of his reaction. I was afraid of what he was going to say, because we've tried those conversations and it would end up in a horrible fight. It will end up in us screaming, yelling at each other, or cursing at each other out, or him leaving. So it was one of those things that, okay, so how can I express something to my husband I am his helper. You know, I didn't even know how to help myself, right? I didn't even know what changes I needed to do in my own life because he never expressed those feelings either. So we were both hiding each other's feelings, our needs, and our beliefs. Why? Because we were stuck in our own marriage. We were stuck in a conversation that we would sit together and we already knew what the other one was gonna say.
We were in the position, right, where, as we mentioned earlier, where I know someone needed to change in the marriage, right? Someone needed to change. I thought, it was her, right? She was the whole problem. We weren't at that point where we knew that each of us, right, needed to change, or that we could change ourselves, right? To me, it was more of she needs to change, right? I'm sure I was the problem in the marriage, right? Until you started realizing, right, and figuring out how can I do this? How can I fix my marriage, like you said, um, and get to that point, and then realize, right, you have to get to the point where you realize, first of all, grace. We made a video very recently about grace. How do I accept what she tells me? First of all, I know she's telling me the truth. Why? Because that's my wife, right? We're in this for life. So first of all, I trust her. I know that she's sincere. I know her heart. This is my wife, So why would my wife have my worst interest or not have my best interest, right? So when she gives me advice or says something, I need to listen and pay attention and focus, because I know she has the best interest, but again, not only for me, but for our marriage. Right now, we can disagree on things, but still, I need to take everything that she says seriously and bring it to the table, right? And why? I'll tell you why now. Because it says here, right, if we look at the Hebrew word, when God made a woman, God says, I will make a suitable companion, right? And if we try to explain that, what does that mean? He's going to make another person in his image, in the image of God, another person in his own image, right? Using Adam's rib, right? To know that it was from him, like the same as him, right? And just before that, right, Adam was naming all the animals, right? He had all the male and female animals. He was naming them all, right? He had a good job in the garden, right? All by himself there. He had a great job. His boss was God, right? And he was the only worker in the garden, and an awesome job, right? But then God realized it's not good for man to be alone. So God says he will make a suitable companion. And the word, right, God makes an Ezer, right? Ezer, which means something more akin to rescuer or even savior. As a matter of fact, this word appears 21 times in the Old Testament. And those 20 other times, it's referring to someone coming to the aid of and bringing strength to one in need, right? Even fighting for them in a battle. Most of the times, Ezer is God himself who comes to the rescue, right? So it's not to consider just, the word helpmate again is a helpmate, but again, remember that she is also in the image of God. So it's not somebody less. It's a companion as well. It's somebody who completes. It's somebody that's going to come to my rescue. And how can she do that, right? I mean, hopefully if I'm fighting somebody, you can just conk him in the head. I'll kind of, you conk him in the head, and But no, but you can come to the rescue also by, giving your opinion and giving me your ideas, and obviously you're half of the marriage, So we need to come together. Two brains are better than one, and that's, again, and God picks usually two people that are different, opposites. Obviously, we are opposites, right? We complement each other. I'm a man, she's a woman. That's what God created, to complement each other. Our minds think different, our bodies function different, and again, to complement each other. So sometimes I'm thinking in a certain way, and I need the feminine, my wife's point of view, sometime, to get the full picture before I make a good decision. The best decisions that we've made, I think, are when we put our heads together and talk and come up with a good decision together. And so that's just, you're more than a helper,
Okay.
You're a suitable companion.
Awesome.
created and given to me by God.
And that's how we became the change in our marriage.
That's where we accepted and learned. Again, when you first started, when you first came to me and said, hey, I think we need to get a divorce, I thought everything was good. I'm like, well, why? Everything is good, we talk every day.
We didn't talk every day.
Yeah, well, we didn't have intimate conversations. It was more like, hey,
how
how
are
you doing? Good morning, my love. I give
Yeah.
you a kiss. You make coffee? Yeah, all right,
Hey,
let's
it's
have
raining
coffee.
outside. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll take the dogs out. You do that? All right, yep,
Okay.
yep. All right,
Have a
bye.
good day,
Give
bye.
you a kiss, bye, right?
That's it.
It was all like, but that was it. There was no,
Superficial.
Yes.
That's how you say it.
yeah, superficial. You're right. But that's really all it was, And then the same, I get home from work. Hey, hi, you're good? Yep, I'm good. Okay, love you. Let me go sit over there. Let me go, get on my phone or, watch TV. Let me just, let me go in my own world. I'm tired. I need to, It's like no, and until you came to me and suggested, right? I mean, it was you didn't suggest. Well, you did suggest. You said, I think we need to get a divorce, or we're gonna have to get a divorce if we can't fix our marriage. So I had to take that into serious consideration.
Yeah.
And that's actually what started the whole thing. So the whole path that we're on now, and to understand how God made us, what kind of a helper you are, again, what kind of a person I need to be as a husband, as the head of the household, and what role you play, and then come together. And again, I'm able to listen and respect my wife and take everything that you have to say very, serious and with very high importance, and know that you're not, saying stuff just to waste time or, I mean, if I thought that everything you would say didn't make sense or I didn't want to listen to it, then why did I marry you?
Yes. Why
Right?
would you marry a person?
Why would you marry somebody if you're not going to listen and take with high regard what they say, their opinion, their ideas, their
needs.
feelings, their needs? How could you not take that serious,
Yeah.
Whether you're the husband or you're the wife.
Yeah.
Both of you need to do that.
Yeah, it's a partnership. It's not one-sided way. Doesn't work that way.
So when your marriage is in trouble, when you're not communicating like that, when you can't tell the other person what's going on, when you tell the other person something and they get mad at you, again, I used to do that in the beginning, as I mentioned earlier in the video, but if they don't come back a little bit later, right, and say, hey, you know what, you were right. If they don't come back and apply what you said or don't acknowledge anything, then yeah, there is a problem,
Yeah.
And what's the problem? Most likely is there's no grace in your marriage. Not you forgot that you love each other. You forgot that the other person loves you. You forgot that they have your best interest. You forgot that they are one half of the marriage, and I doubt that they're trying to just jeopardize your marriage. Right? So, some things to think about. I think we talked a lot today.
Yeah.
It's a long video. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Is it all right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
They're okay
I'll
with
take
it.
your word
Okay.
for it that it's all right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. And we hope you have a blessed weekend. And hopefully we'll be here tomorrow again.
I'm going to tell them to subscribe.
And like our page, subscribe, and share the video if it actually spoke to you in some type of way or something resonated with what we said.
Yeah, go ahead, share it. It's free. You can share it for free.
Yes, it is.
We're not going to charge you anything.
Wow. All right, guys. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Thanks for watching. Bye.